Hare Krishna, Namaste, Chapter 18, which is entitled as Sannyasa Yoga. Sloka 14 and 15, Part 13. Adhiṣṭhānaṁ tathā kartā karaṇaṁ ca pṛthag-vidham vividhāś pṛthak ceṣṭā daivaṁ caivātra pañcamam śarīra-vāṅ-manobhir karma prārabhate naraḥ nyāyyaṁ viparītaṁ pañcaite tasya hetavaḥ. The place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the Supersoul. These are the 5 factors of action. Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these 5 factors. The main cause that leads us into this samsara, this repeated birth, death, disease, and old age, is avidya, ignorance, that is, lack of knowledge in 2 main facts: that I am not the body, I am spirit soul. I am not independent. There is a Lord who is above me. These 2 knowledge is what called as avidya. To picturize this, avidya is the root of the tree, whereas it has 4 branches: asmitha, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. Asmitha, thinking oneself to be better than other, where one doesn't require a superior. Thinking oneself to be independent. Raga is attachment. Dvesha is hatred. These 2 are caused because of identifying oneself to be the body, not as Atma. Because of this identification, false identification, what produced out of it is abhinivesha, fear. If we know we are not this body, we are spirit soul, then there is no any fear about the condition of the body. We'll be ready to depart at any time. But when we don't have that idea, it obviously creates a fear because of the attachment to the body. The fear is understood when we contemplate or think about something which is unfavorable going to come upon us. That emotion is called fear. Likewise, when we think that which is very favorable is going to be lost from us, that emotion created is called fear. That which is unfavorable going to come upon us, or that which is favorable is going to be lost. That may be a fact or not, but the mind that goes through this emotion is called fear. And obviously that is caused because I think myself to be this body. As long as we have this avidya, we do things according to that understanding, and that action that we perform creates karma, and the action also creates as a vasana, an impression. Because of this karma, we take birth, and as soon as we take birth, the vasana impels us to perform a similar action that we did in previous lives, and that further develops ruchi, taste, to continue doing the same action. And the avidya is deepened, by which karma is generated. Because of the karma, birth is taken, and the vasana gets stronger, and the taste further increases, and that leads further into avidya, and this cycle goes on for not 1 lifetime, 2 lifetimes, 10 lifetimes, but unlimited lifetimes from the past. we are so attached to doing wrong things so many lifetimes and pay no attention to do even one good things that will give credit to us to progress on the positive side. One fails to realize that it is the causeless mercy of the Lord who created this place, given everything to me, including the body, senses and prana, so that I can do actions in a way that abides to the shastra that has been given to me by the Lord, and cultivate bhakti, get rid of my karma and return back to the Supreme Lord. But that realization never comes. If one has to get that realization, one needs to come to sattvika tyaga. When one performs sattvika tyaga, that's when one realizes who is the actual doer. When a person realizes the facts, then our ticket to spiritual world is guaranteed. But the problem is that realization doesn't come so quickly, so easily, because of our avidya. Because of our avidya, we will not be doing any good thing that will trigger the Lord's mercy upon us. The Lord knows this very well. He is so very compassionate. He doesn't want to let his children to suffer like this. The living entities, jivatmas, are so dear to him and so close to him as kaustubha gem, the gem which he wears on his chest. Certainly, Krishna wants all the living entities to be with him in the spiritual world. But we, due to our avidya, get contaminated and only do wrong things life after life after life, and hardly has any time to think about Krishna and get further distanced from him and suffer in this world like the lost child. We never turn towards the Shastra, which was kindly, mercifully given to us by the Lord himself. Therefore, never engages in those activities which produces good karmas. It is through these punya karmas that we perform, as mentioned in the Vedas, that the Lord becomes pleased. When the Lord is pleased, then He gets us back to Him gradually. But rather accumulating punya karmas, we are so very experienced in accumulating papa karmas, and the result is the Lord is displeased. Therefore, we further and further get entangled into this world by repeated birth and death. The Lord, seeing His children suffering like this, unable to tolerate, He also knows that we will never do any good things on our own due to our avidya, karma vasanas. Unless we start doing good thing, this avidya, karma and vasanas will not leave us. Therefore, the most compassionate Lord, Sri Krishna, tries himself to find some opportunity for us to create a punya karma. When that punya karma, which is done unknowingly, the Lord keeps that as a starting point to help and generate more good karmas for the living entities. This is called ajnana sukriti, getting good result by doing good thing unknowingly. To understand how Lord works with us, let's see some ways. A man who goes on a trip with his family to enjoy vacation. Over there, he goes to many sightseeing places. He watches movies. He plays games. He eats in different types of restaurants. But there is a temple which he didn't even bother to go and visit. But then he was going around the temple to visit all other places for his enjoyment. Nevertheless, the Lord accounts him that he came to my dham. The truth is that that man did not think so. He was focused on sightseeing, enjoying things, not the temple, not the dham. But the merciful Lord accounts him that he came to my dham out of his busy schedule. Here's another example. A man who's very much interested in gossip and interested in playing dice. When he built the house, he had a corridor in front of his house where few people can sit there and play cards, dice, or talk politics. But then there were a group of sadhus who were traveling through that village. That night they rested in that veranda, the outside corridor, overnight. Seeing this, the Lord accounted this man for building that corridor as a service to sadhus. But that's not the purpose why he did that one. But the Lord creates a ajnana sukriti for this man. Another example, a man who chases his cow which was running away. As the cow was running around the temple, and the man was also chasing the cow, running behind the cow, who never visited the temple. But the Lord, when he sees that the man is running around the temple, he marked and accounted him, saying that my devotee circumlated my temple, creates an ajnana sukriti. Take another example. There is a procession going on the street where the Lord has been taken on a rath. There are hundreds and thousands of people who are engaged in this rath-yatra, pulling the cart, walking along, chanting the name of the Lord, dancing, many things. But this man who was caught in this crowd also was forced to go along the crowd. But the Lord accounted this man that he was involved in my rath-yatra. So the compassionate Lord tried to find somehow or the other to generate an ajnana sukriti. From that initial point onwards, our life becomes better towards Krishna consciousness. The Lord tries to work on us to increase our good credit. Then with that, He sends us a saintly person in our life. Through those saintly people, we get jnana, knowledge. With that, one develops faith in the scriptures. When the faith developed through saintly people, gurus, he starts following the injunctions given in the scriptures. As he starts doing things as prescribed in the shastra, his sattva guna increases. Then he starts doing sattvika tyaga. And parallelly, bhakti sprouts and grows, and he then surrenders to the Lord. When he surrenders to the Lord, the rest of his life is taken over by the Lord himself directly, and takes him back to his abode, where one goes, never comes back again into this material world. We took some time to explain these two slokas because the question is very important. Who is the doer? Am I the doer, or the nature is the doer, or the Lord is the doer? If I am the doer, am I independent or dependent on the Lord? If I am independent, that takes away the supremacy of the Lord. If I am dependent, then it takes away the reactions that comes out of my action. Also, I am the one who is the doer. Otherwise, the Shastra will be meaningless. Therefore, I need to know I am the agency of my action, kartā. But if I think I am the doer, then that doesn't fall into sattvika tyaga, because one of the things as per sattvika tyaga is I should not think I am the doer. So in this series, we try to address all these questions. To summarize all these questions, yes, it is we who are the doer. We are responsible for our action. But we are not independent doer, we are dependent doer. We are depending on the mercy of the Lord even to make the choice, because He is the one who has given us the free will. He is the one who has given us the facilities. He is the one who has given us the knowledge. Therefore, we are dependent on the Lord. But we are dependent doesn't mean we have complete independence. And we are dependent doesn't mean the Lord becomes a shepherd where we are all flock of sheep. Dance according to His will. Lord makes us to do action and sanctions our action completely based on the initial step that we take using our free will. Since we are using the free will that's given to us by the Lord, and He waits for us to make that initial decision or choices and then sanctions it and then further encourages us in that particular act, He is the doer. So yes, both Jivatma and Paramatma are the doers or the cause of any actions. We are Vishesha Karana, a specific cause, whereas He is Samanya Karana, a general cause. He is general cause because He has given us all the facilities. We are specific cause because we are the one who make choice by making use of the free will and the facilities that's given to us by the Lord. Therefore, whoever takes the specific cause, Vishesha Karana, will be the responsible person for their actions. And we saw several examples like government and citizen, father and 4 sons, etc. There is one very interesting story mentioned in Mahabharata which gives answers to all our questions in this regard. Who is the cause of our sufferings and happiness? Let's learn that story in our next session before we can conclude this subject matter. Namaste. Hare Krishna.